Great.
And I normally go over items if I can find anything. This will push it. They won't go out. I had one, I think I filed in 2013. The day she was born on, and she got pulled over for something, like in 2018, and they hauled her in on it, so.
Feeling better? I am.
Karma. No, because there's a warrant out for Zerus.
Oh, because of progress.
Chris George filled in admirably the last game.
We'll catch up with you eventually.
Good to know.
Take care of your stuff.
We need to have a chat, so. Make a decision, we'll just bring it to notice.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
I haven't seen you for.
I missed the last couple of meetings.
You didn't say anything.
Chris,
Let's chat about that.
you on vacation?
One
Just
of
say me
them,
tomorrow.
Just say yes.
yeah. The other one, I think my son had COVID. So.
That'll do it.
Yep.
Is he all right?
Yeah, he's good.
All right, I got 12 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Keith Leonard,
Here.
Keith Ster,
Here.
Jen Reimer, here, Fred Mogle,
Here.
and Dave Reeser.
Here.
Is there any public comment?
Yes. I brought you another picture from the same curve that I raised the issue at last meeting. This was taken and I sent Melissa a color version of it. This was taken after the road milling. And it is visibly a broken curb that's sagged. I think there are so many issues, probably a handful of issues where it's outside the guidelines of your own guidelines for curbs. So it is still inexplicable. I discussed with the supervisor when they were paving the street, and he told me that he was personally told by Jim Babb to not touch it.
False.
Say again?
It's a false statement. I
I-
never talked to the H&K at all about any curbing. Never once.
You probably did, and this is what I was told. This is what I was told. To not touch it.
That's false.
Well, it's fine. You wanna bring him, we can talk. I'm witness for this, what, you wanna record
We
it?
have a point. We have a,
Yes.
keep going.
And it does not, whatever Jim says, whether he told him or not, it makes absolutely no reason when we do a job like this to not fix the curb. And you asked me last month to say what I think. What do you think? What do you think would be the reason? Is there any conceivable reasoning other than seeing that these particular residents are given all the perks and everything? To me, this is the only plausible reason. If you have a reason, Mr. Brunner, please let us know, because nobody gave us any reason for leaving this like this. And this continues because, you know, we fixed also the walkway, but nobody was charged for that, the staircase. Those fixes were done on public funds when they're supposed to be placed, you know, by code on the adjacent residence. But nevertheless, back to the story. We are now with this, a broken curb that it was visibly either cut or broken long time ago in the 70s when it was patched like this. And I don't see, to me, it makes no sense when he says it's false. It does look like they were told not to touch it. It certainly does look like they were told not to touch it.
I
So-
don't know how you can determine that by a picture, but that's okay.
How? Because they fixed everything else. Everything else was fixed. But please, give me a reason. No, we don't.
Jim, go ahead.
I mark, over the last 20 years as we've been doing this, I mark curb for every thousands of properties of curb.
Correct.
I use my best judgment.
Okay.
And just because you don't like your neighbor.
No,
doesn't
it
mean
has
that I
nothing
have
to do
No,
with
this
it.
is a problem with you and your neighbor,
No,
not
it
a
has
problem
to
with
do
me,
with a
sir.
curb.
Jim, easy.
That,
Please?
it's
Has
a
to do
judgment
with it.
call, I make the call, and we're done.
Okay, seems to me that answers the question. Judgment call.
That's why I'm raising this. I went back to him, I showed him that it's not per the guidelines, and he ignored it. This has been going on for
I
months.
believe you've gotten your answer. It was determined that it's fine, so it's gonna stay fine.
So then what's the purpose of this infrastructure committee if all we need is Jim's best
It's my
judgment?
job.
Because the infrastructure committee's not gonna go around and
But
vote first.
we
That's what
need,
Jim's that's his
you
professional, that's his
need
job.
to be able to assess that this was a wrong judgment.
Well, we don't think so, because we have faith in Jim.
So
and
this
Jim
is
went out
how
and
we
looked at
do,
it.
so you think, so
He's
then
used
we
his
should
best
all
judgment
have
to determine
faith
what
in
needs to be
Jim,
fixed what
and
doesn't.
then why do we meet?
We're not sitting here
We
to
have a
meet,
whole- we
we've
have a
got a
whole
whole
list
thing
of
to do,
things.
we've
Okay.
got hundreds of
Well,
thousands of
this
millions
is
of
an
dollars worth of
issue,
stuff to meet about,
and-
not necessarily your
and-
neighbor's curb.
and
And
if-
in our opinion, Jim does a good job, Jim
Okay.
makes the determination, and that's the end of the case. So you ask what the criteria is? The criteria is Jim makes the best call he can based on his 20 years of experience going around and marking curbs, and in Jim's opinion, that curb's satisfactory. So
So,
that's the end of it. That's
so
the end of
when
the
we
infrastructure.
see that those particular residents also get other perks,
This
No,
has
that's
nothing to do
not.
with neighbors
Nothing.
and perks.
yes.
I don't even know who he is. I don't know where that's at. I don't
I told
look
you
at-
where,
don't-
I
don't-
wrote you an email,
I don't know,
Hey.
when I mark curb, I mark curbs, I could care less.
and I brought
who
it
the
to your
property is.
attention that it is a curb that needs to be replaced.
Okay, so we got your point. You don't think it's enough. We think it is. Thank you. I do find, Jim, I did drive up Cardinal just before the meeting. I think it looks great. So,
Thank you.
I did see another couple code violations that never seem to come up, but that's okay. All right, moving on. Any other public comment? All right. Last month, we didn't have any real updates for the Service Electric franchise agreement. You have anything up new, Chris, or anybody?
Yes, since the last committee meeting, we received from the attorney for Service Electric a draft franchise agreement. Now that this has become active, I have reached out to the Cohen Law Group, asked them for an engagement letter based on our prior discussion about having them handle the franchise agreement negotiations, and I have provided to them the draft agreement that we received from Service Electric. So, there has been progress. So it looks like Service Electric is still intending to work on this project in the borough.
Have we heard from the other guy at all, that, the internet guy?
Jim and I had,
Fast Bridge or something?
Fastbridge Fiber, Jim and I had a meeting with him right after the Economic Development Committee meeting to talk through street cut permits and what that all looks like. They're doing everything they need to do to get the ball rolling.
Anything else on that? Then we're good?
No.
I am gonna go back to, I guess, my portion of one thing I forgot. Jen, welcome to the committee.
Thank you.
I forgot, I was gonna do that in public comment, but we had some ridiculousness to deal with. So, welcome to the committee. I know you're gonna be on
Thank you.
others, so I'm glad to have you. Thanks for offering your time and your talent. Western Berks Water Authority.
Okay, I have a couple things here, not necessarily priority, but the algae on the lake is being monitored. We're okay through July, and hopefully we'll be okay, but September and October, August and September are usually the 2 months that we have a problem with it, but it's being monitored. DEP is checking it all the time, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue. Pennsylvania American, Chip, there was an all-day seminar out at Albright, and he was talking with the Pennsylvania American representative and came up about Wyomissing Hills water. As you know, Wyomissing Hills is tied in with Spring Township and Sinking Spring system. That's Pennsylvania America's system. He indicated to Chip that they might be interested in talking to us about acquiring that. Very preliminary, nothing was spoken about money-wise or anything else, but I think we should at least sit down and talk with them if we are interested in pursuing it.
And when you say we, you're talking about Western Berks Water Authority?
Yes, but obviously, with
Yeah.
agreement from you, Phil. Yeah, sure. Yes, Chip would be the lead guy on that because it's gonna be taking over, Sinking Spring and Spring Township. As you know, I've maintained for years that we have to get more, water sales. We're only doing about 50% capacity, and costs go up if we don't increase our capacity, our sales, guess what?
So Western Berks has the capacity.
We're running about 50%. This would be ideal.
If I remember correctly, we actually sent a letter to PA American Water,
Yeah.
only offering to
That
purchase
was-
the Wyomissing Hills.
And they emphatically said no.
And they
Yeah, I don't know
They
why.
basically said they're making too much money on them.
I don't, well, that's what's happening.
I believe
That's
they
what's
also
happening.
said they'd be interested in buying our system.
Right.
Yeah, they wanted to buy ours.
Well, they always wanted to buy our system, we said that's not an option. So anyway, is there a turn in their objectives for the company? I don't know. Was this guy speaking out of line? I don't know. But at least the door is open to team
Well,
bit.
I will speak for the committee. If they want to pursue that, we will have open ears.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was
Just that's one
recommending.
person.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I will
agree.
keep you, in whatever, I'll let you thought. Okay, so that's encouraging anyway. The filter gallery project has been pushed back at least 2 months. We have this concern about supplying the water, we have to return the filter gallery off. I guess, they connected the parts and so forth, so that's pushed back a good couple months. I think, did they do a flow test with Byrne Township to see if we can get?
That's
runoff
supposed to
water?
be happening this week.
Okay, I wasn't sure when it was happening. So they're gonna test that just to make sure that we have coverage. If we do, we have to shut off the plant during these filter gallery and things. And the water quality is good right now.
Okay.
Chris, do you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Glad to hear the news.
Yeah, well, I'm encouraged, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, we would always look entertained to
Okay.
help our friends over in Wyomissing Hills.
Well, right, I mean, it's crazy.
I lived there, I remember. It's no fun.
It's not right, but there's nothing we can
Nothing
do
we
about
can do
it.
about it, right?
But if we can buy it, anyway.
Then we can do something about it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Zoning and codes report?
Sure, I'm gonna let Glenn go over the actual enforcement activity report. There's an updated version, that I just received that I will send out to the committee.
Yeah, I apologize, my guy who was handling that thought he sent it and he didn't, so.
So the one on the screen is different than the paper I have in my hand.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Apologize for that. But if you have any questions, I mean, it's mostly just your standard garden variety work without a permit and property maintenance stuff going on. I think we have 2 outstanding warrants that have been issued.
On this list, do you have is there any concerns that we need to highlight since I didn't get a chance to look at this?
I don't think so, again, there's nothing crazy, and I think there is a zoning hearing coming up, Michelle.
There's 2 on September 6th.
6 high and
6 those aren't in here because I didn't do the public notice or any information. They'll be in September's report.
oh, gotcha.
But there are 2 zoning hearings coming up on September 6th.
When I was going through the packet, Reading Motor, and that's the one where they started work and then had to stop, and is that back on project, are they working again, or is that still on hold?
I'm not sure.
Whatever it's
The
called.
Innet Reading.
All right, I'm old.
Yeah, I knew what you
Dave
meant.
jumped in there, helped me out.
Reddit motor. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if
I think we were still waiting for the proper drawings there for them to continue. Like they submitted information and then it wasn't what we wanted, so, you know, we needed more information.
So they're
I
still
think
on hold.
I believe so.
Let's just make it that we're not, they can't point to us as a reason they're not advancing or moving forward, so.
Oh, they can't.
I know, so I'm just trying to make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's, because that is obviously a problem.
What is the story, you know, because this is a little concerning, you building over at Wynwood? That I understand that the floor is sinking?
There was a structural issue there. There were some, basically, it was a combination of 3 floors having a problem at the same spot. And the bottom floor was the worst, obviously, but they did some work without a permit at some point to open up a wall to kind of give an open effect to a kitchen. And they didn't do it properly. They created a point load at a certain spot where it was inappropriate, and then it cascaded up through from unit to unit above. And so a structural an architect was in there, a structural engineer was in there, and they've, you know, proposed a fix, and we're working with them to get that resolved. But it caused, and on top of things, the lady on the 3rd floor put a baby grand piano right on that wall upstairs, so.
Yeah, they don't have elevators in those buildings.
I don't know how they got up there, but
Helicopter.
I was shocked when I saw it. I was like, so, yeah, so that didn't help. So that's what's going on. And I think the floor on the bottom sank about 6 inches. You know, some of it was, you know, compression of the lumber itself from too much weight. And, you know, it was a combination of things that all just caused the perfect storm right at that one spot. So, but nothing's going in imminent danger of collapse or anything like that. It's good.
Anything else on this report?
Any
Anybody have any questions? All right, moving on.
Thank you.
Water.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing else we have to do under the zoning code report? We're good? Okay. Water. Jim?
Jim McCarthy and I believe tomorrow, it's definitely this week, I think it's tomorrow, are going out to the bridge over the top of Houghton Creek with a contractor to try to eyeball it, to take the next step in seeing what the costs are to replace that pipe.
And then Rawa done anything?
No. I think the way it will go is we will propose something, then meet with Rawa, and as I remember it, there's gonna be a cost sharing.
Right.
Dave said that plant shutdown's delayed, whatever, Western Brooks is doing now with Vern, if that works, it'll be great, because it'll make us not have to change too much in the flow of the water when they do the shutdown, so hopefully that works out. And that residential meter replacement, we finished this year's, and next year, you'll see in the budget, probably 300 more meters, and that'll be it. Every residential meter in the borough will be of newer vintage and have the memory capability and data recording capability, and can be read by driving down the road as opposed to going up and reading on the tab of the house. So I'm glad that'll be complete. That's been going on for 6-7 years now, changing those out. That's all I have for water.
Okay.
And that, the contract, that's for Trent Avenue?
Yes, we're just basically gonna push that Trent Avenue water job into 2024 as opposed, or 2023 as opposed to 2022.
Right,
Yeah, so we just gotta make sure.
And the
we
budget
just
amount was
it,
335.
because that was an approved project for this year, so that should go into the reserve for next year as an approved project for 22.
I believe Phyllis already had that on her table at the last finance
To
meeting.
move
but-
over,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Hearing nothing else on water, we'll move to sanitary sewer.
The contractor, Sewer Specialty Services, has been in town for, gosh, a month now. We have payment application number 1 in the amount of $74,244.02 that, we need a recommendation.
And that's a budgeted number of what?
304.
Okay. That's the contract price, what do we budget, is that just under the general capital sewer improvements? It's
Yeah.
450?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's multiple things under that.
All right. So we need a recommendation to pay application number 1 in the amount of $74,244.02.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, we'll pay it, well, we'll send it to council. Anything else, Jim?
Just two other things. If you recall, months ago, Spring Township put in some sewer meters in different lines, what we refer to as the West Lawn Interceptor. It hasn't rained enough. They should be done by now, but they left them in because they need more rain events to gather data. And this, I think I mentioned this a while ago too, when we first heard the State Hill Road PennDOT improvement
Mhm.
plan there. But there is a pipe, a cast iron sanitary sewer pipe from Greenwood Mall down to the 222 overpass. That is, it's not good because it's cast, so it barnacles up, and it's old and it's undersized. And I don't know where this goes, but if when they're engineering State Hill Road, that 1,500 feet of pipe should really be replaced as part of that project. I don't know how the cost, if that's cost sharing, if it's just on us.
I believe that's just on us. So you should probably budget that for 23.
Do we know that PennDOT's gonna be doing that in 23?
So they just got approval from the state for funding for full engineering and design. And based off the article in the Reading Eagle and Allen Paper from the county confirming, they're looking at a potential construction date of 2024 for that first section, which would be Colony Park to Granite Point.
Could be from where to where, Colony
Park to Granite Point, which would include this section of pipe.
Park to Granite Point, that's a pretty big section.
Yeah.
Very big section. And then with all the circle.
3 of them.
2024, so we wouldn't need that in the budget until then? Or
No,
need to
we
do it
would
in
need-
2023?
You'd wanna do it in 23. I mean, there's always the possibility they're gonna engineer it, put it out to bid. I mean, there's still right-of-way issues, a whole bunch of other things that they would have to work through, but I mean, there's always the possibility they're gonna get to that point and then decide not to do it, or do it in sections, or do something different. But I would think it would make sense, it's gonna happen eventually, so
It's gonna be an ugly job, because some of it's off the shoulder, but some of it's in State Hill Road.
Oh, really?
So, dumb question, because either the chicken came first or the egg, but if we do our part first and they come in and they start smacking it around, we run a risk of, I mean, obviously we can make them fix the problem, I'm just,
Well, that's a coordination issue during construction. I mean, I think there'll be a lot of meetings at the front end of the process to develop an action plan for those utilities. I don't know if you have any experience.
There's a lot of, I wait for the day when they're gonna call to say, what do you know about the utilities, because there's a ton of stuff in there.
Well, if they've authorized funding for the design, that's gonna be, I would think, the next step.
if not, Jim, I mean, I have Donald Lurch's contact information. He's the one for MS4. You have me send that
Yeah.
information to him. I mean, worth contacting him.
Yeah.
all I can say, Jim, is keep your ear, to the phone, and, if there's any other project at some point that we can capitalize on the fact that it's already ripped apart
Right.
over there, and we might wanna do it at the same time, instead of ripping the Band-Aid off all at one time instead of doing it multiple times. I drive that 4 times a day, it's gonna be a total nightmare. That's gonna be a nightmare, but that's out of our hands. Okay, well then we'll budget that maybe for 23, see what happens. Fair?
Yep.
Any idea of what you're talking about? Couple 100,000 or a million?
Somewhere in between. It wouldn't be a million, somewhere in between.
Big number.
Yeah, big one.
I'll give the info to Spencer and he can crunch some numbers.
And there's no chance PennDOT would just pick that up as part of the project.
It's our fight, not theirs.
Now, if it's within the right of way, it's our responsibility. Is it within?
It's
the
within
right
the right of way, yeah.
If it was outside the right of way and their project was destroying our line, they'd have to pay for it. But if it's within the right of way, it's our responsibility.
So much for.
Good, anything else on sanitary sewer? Sanitary sewer? All right, Berkshire Boulevard Pump Station, anything new on that?
We're getting closer to a budget number for next year. We're working on it, Jim's working on it.
Okay, so we don't have any.
Nothing.
We talked last month that we'd have something to do on this meeting, basically don't have much yet.
No,
September meeting?
yeah.
Okay, streets?
We have, let's see here, payment application number 2 for H&K in the amount of $272,628.
You skipped 50/50 sidewalks.
Yeah,
Whoops, I'm
50/50.
sorry.
Yeah, start paying attention.
All right, we awarded at the council meeting the 50/50
Right.
sidewalk to LB Construction. There was an ad alternate on that bid for handicap ramps over in the Deborah Winger area. There we go. That portion is an additional $46,400. I guess the discussion is it, do we want to spend the money to install those handicap ramps?
You back to the picture? So the pool right there, right?
The pool's here. So,
Can we agree that you would look at this, but our people could do that too?
We had debated that early on, but technically we could. But for us to do that, it would be a 2 to 3 week project, which I'd rather not do, where these guys do this every day, all day, more efficient.
This is where we have a resident come in and ask.
Yes.
yes.
We pretty much,
Voted to say, yep, we're
Yeah.
gonna do this.
it's a good question of how.
Right.
Did we talk about the curbs, or we just talk about putting striping in?
Both.
No,
Okay.
the ramps and the strip.
So now we budget for the 46.
And you need to make a decision if you're doing it now as part of the alternate bid.
Subject to finance.
Subject to finance and then council. All right, so we need to get a motion or a rejection of the ad alternate bid work for the intersections we just described, over in Wyomissing Hills. And, I'll make a recommendation that we go ahead and advance this at least to the finance committee.
When do you need to know, Jim?
I'll second that.
I would imagine they'll be in town to start the sidewalk work in a month. We're not in panic, and I'm sure they'll be here for at least a month with the sidewalk work, so we have 2 months.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to accept the ad alternate work bid received at $46,400 by LB Construction Enterprises. All those in favor?
Subject to finance.
Subject to finance, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. That's important, and if that pool there, that gets,
Yeah.
Well, the playground's right there too.
Yeah, and the playground, right. Yeah, I agree. All right, 2022 street improvements. I know we got some money to spend, but anything else?
Other than that, they're out on Reading Boulevard now. They'll finish up the heavy work this week. It's gonna sit for 2 weeks, kind of be opened up to full traffic for a period of time. And then they'll be back to put the final topping of blacktop on it sometime late August, early September. And they still have Spring Street, which hasn't been started yet.
And where's the country Chris?
Excuse me?
I'm just reading here. So we need to make a payment application
Number
to
2.
H&K for $272,624.84.
$628.80.
Did I get that wrong?
Yes.
I'll restate that. We need to make a payment application of $272,628.84. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and do that.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. We can advance that to council. And they're not doing a circle, right, just to reemphasize this? I just drove down it this morning for the first time. We're not
There's
doing any of
gonna
that
be a
circle.
break in the action at the circle in anticipation
Of that
of
spring
Spring
work.
Township sewer, yeah.
Okay. Great. All right, moving on, bike sharing station.
Just an update that rental income for the month of July was again almost actually at $1,300, which boggles my mind. There will be information in the fall newsletter about the bike share stations as well as a coupon code people can use for a one-time 1-hour free rental.
Nice. I do have a question, and maybe this we answered this a long time ago, but I forgot. What are we doing with the bikes in January? Do
They
they come off
get-
the street?
Yeah, so they come out and pull them actually mid-November,
Okay.
and then we'll put them back out. That's my call to make based off of weather, but
But they're not
probably-
out, they're not gonna be out for anybody to start sliding around on. Okay, great. Okay.
I can take 11 and 12, which McCarthy's office is working with PennDOT to get all of the clearances that PennDOT requires to keep moving with the grant funding. We're closer than we were.
All right. Well, that's the answer for both of those, 11 and 12?
Yes.
Closer. Or as my predecessor would say, progress. Right. Minimal progress.
It is PennDOT.
What did we discuss last? Green light go, do we need to keep that on there?
I would because there's gonna be,
The contract's been awarded, I haven't heard anything about a start date.
I haven't either.
Okay. Is that the same for the 18, 19?
They're both, they're gonna be, they're gonna be done by the same contractor.
The same
Under
time.
the same contract.
Okay. All right. We'll just keep it on there when we get notice, guess we'll find out. Park Road Bridge,
That's just staying on there as a reminder. PennDOT has not done anything yet.
trying to get the Park Road Bridge painted. Library facilities update.
From Jubilee.
Anything new?
The only thing I have is that, Bill, were you on that email? Jan and I were copied on an email from Margaret this morning from the library board. They submitted their 2023 budget considerations for facility repairs. Nothing super crazy, some mortar, like repointing on the exterior of the building. It sounded like some pressure washing to get rid of some stuff on the outside, replacement of some bulbs that are halogen with LEDs. So they didn't include estimated costs, just a list. Jim and I can work through some rough numbers for cost.
Where do we stand with the roof?
We were waiting to get a grant, which the program we would apply under hasn't opened in 2 years. But that was
There's
like
no
a-
active leaking going on at this point.
There isn't.
No.
No fires yet.
knock on wood.
Yeah, that could change at any moment, but not for the last year. I've heard anything about it. Just one other thing too about the library and the firehouse. The library AC is in, we're waiting for the second and final pay application. They have one more minor thing to do over there, but it's up and running. And tomorrow, that same contractor will be at the firehouse to start the air conditioning units at the firehouse. Just general information.
Okay. What's that? Special infrastructure meeting, will be, Jen, just so you know, your next meeting is gonna be longer than normal.
Yeah, kinda gathered that. And that second bullet point under 17,
Yeah.
I don't know why that's
I
there.
was wondering that myself, okay. We
Just,
denied that.
I have had conversations with, Chief Phillips, Chief Hackman, as to, you know, they were kind of questioning me what they should be prepared to present. I know Chief Phillips has a copy of Carter Kelly's facilities plan they did for the borough back in 2008. He's gone through recommendations and different scenarios that were called out in that, and is going to, you know, make his recommendation based off of that if anything works, versus, you know, there's different options in there, moving to an entirely different building, staying where we are and putting an addition on. So he went through the floor plans, the summary, everything, and is gonna weigh in as to what he thinks is the best option. Chief Hackman will do the same in terms of known issues with the fire station and what his thoughts are on fixes.
Can't wait to hear it. Anything news on the trash and recycling bid?
No, I'm not actually sure why that's on this agenda. I know Anderson from McCarthy's office reached out to me late last week with a couple of follow-up questions from potential bidders as to, you know, just reviewing the RFP that was put out, removing potentially, recycling yard waste Monday, people questioning is that a typo, things like that, so.
Good. Anything else? Firehouse, AC and roof?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was on there, yeah, they're gonna start tomorrow, and, the roofer sometime, late September, I think he said.
So tomorrow for the AC and then
Yeah.
the roof after? Get Dave's close to 7:30. Okay, is there any old business?
Just one quick thing to mention too, just in case anybody sees it, we have money in the budget for line painting. I don't know if anybody's noticed the crosswalks, the stop bars, they've been in town for, a few weeks redoing the street markings. But they still have a paint shortage, and the long lines, the double yellows, the single whites, they don't have enough paint to do them. So we'll be waiting for some of that.
Should call the company that was painting the lines. When I came home from Ithaca the other day, they were painting white, passing lines, the white from the highway, and they were misspraying all over the place.
Could be why there's a paint
It was
shortage.
On, wherever it was paint flying all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, I stayed behind that one, way behind. Okay, any new business?
Yeah, the one thing still under old business, just bring up,
Sorry.
I brought this up under fire and police, the new signs that PennDOT recommended, were erected at the fire station, warning people to stop, when the lights go on. The only thing is, they're between large trees, so unless you're really looking for them, you're not gonna see those signs. And, you know, I guess we gotta wait it out for a while and then go back to PennDOT and say, this isn't working, because nothing else is,
Would knock a tree down?
God forbid.
You'd have to actually,
I know that.
you probably have to take 4 of them down.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, their answer was to put signs up, but it's not gonna solve the problem.
They didn't talk to anybody from the borough, they just wanted to put the
So
signs up.
No, we put the signs up based
Oh.
off an approved traffic signal diagram plan that PennDOT approved. So
Oh.
Penn Avenue, PennDOt
End
meeting,
result, those lights.
not only do they have approval on the signs, but that flashing light in front of the fire station requires a traffic signal permit because they consider it a traffic signal. So any changes we make to the signal, the striping on the road, the signage, et cetera, it has to be approved by PennDOT. And we had originally proposed cross hatching, not only across the driveway apron on Penn Avenue, and I think there was like the addition of an extra signal head maybe for TPD, our traffic engineer, PennDOT shot that down. So,
Basically, with the way that they are, the signals are now, people stop at those signals, thus they're blocking the ramp from the trucks going in and out.
and that's if they actually stop.
Okay. Any other old business? Is there any new business to be brought before the infrastructure committee? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Meeting is adjourned.